Good morning, good morning. Good morning, good morning. Um, Welcome to the Morning Cup of Coffee with Mary May. I hope this morning has found you well so far. I am a leadership strategist, and I come on Tuesday mornings at 7:30 during your morning commute to share a cup of coffee with you, as well as some nuggets that's going to help get you on your way. And my quote, as I prepare for today, is always: before making any decision, make a cup of coffee or tea. So let's chat. So, what's on my mind for today's conversation is the focus nugget is talking about what is a 2 millimeter shift in your leadership and how it is that you show up for yourself in your life on a day to day basis, securing that promotion, negotiating that pay increase, and what that truly looks like. Like sometimes it could possibly show up and be like a mental gymnastics or a way that you position yourselves that can really be key in how it is that you make and secure the changes that you seek to solve or seek to engage in the problem or big thinking thing it is that you do in your role as a leader. What is that 2 millimeter shifts? So if this is your first time being connected with me in this particular space, for me to be like the leadership strategist and kind of guiding you, I want to show you who I am and what's my why or purpose in this conversation. Um, I work with middle managers, people striving to get into senior leadership and break that glass ceiling where they're able to position themselves and make the shifts that are important for them so that they can lead forward, elevate forward, level up forward, being able to negotiate that pay and create the life and career on their terms that they desire. So that's that next leveling of the career that you desire, but sometimes there are some 2 millimeter shifts that are necessary in order to get to the place where you can truly level up and understand what is possibly a barrier, because nothing is impossible, but it can present itself as a barrier that distracts you from what is it that would be something as small as 2 millimeters that you can implement, you can strategize, you can create, you can empathize, you can create that you're not playing mental gymnastics and your leadership like in the workplace, like you're not playing mental gymnastics and going back and forth and not able to make the informed and best decision for how it is that you will allow yourself to be guided in a situation. But you're able to step into the thought process that is needed. You're able to step into the project that is being put before you, and you're able to kind of own in and step in to the role, making whatever 2 millimeter shifts that are necessary for your success overall. And so in making those 2 millimeter shifts, you are able to begin to have a personal confrontation of yourself and that reflection of how it is that of what is important to you. Like what is important to you in creating that niche that you have in your career. And sometimes we have to look at the human behavior of what it is that we may be doing on a continual basis that is becoming that barrier or that blockage of what is moving us away from our promotion versus leading us to it. And because it's a behavior that we do so innately or so like naturally, we don't look at it as it being a barrier, or we don't look at it not being received well, that could be like a block. So what could be some of these 2 millimeter shifts? Perspective is everything. So how it is that you look at the things that you do, the things that you say, how it is that you show up, what it is, how do you explore an opportunity before beginning to talk yourself out of it. You have the opportunity to really make a game-changing move of a 2 millimeter shift from the time that something is presented to you. And so when you think about perspective being anything, think about times that you make reservations at a restaurant. And when you make it at the restaurant, you have good intentions on possibly making it to that restaurant. However, something comes up, it might be traffic, it might something came up in your schedule that you didn't consider, that now you need to, kind of look at differently. But you're gonna be on time. Excuse me. Are you on time? Are you going to run late? Do you need more time? Or are you just going to simply be a no-show? How that behavior communicates with a simple restaurant reservation also can show up in how it is that you approach a new task, a new project, a new thing that you're exploring or opportunity, because it's possible that when you are looking to, level up, it's all types of things, all type of life situations that, kind of put you in a pausing place, or in a place that you are not executing what that next level is. So what are some of those 2 millimeter shifts that kind of keep you on pause, or that help you maintain this undesirable characteristic of you in leadership? Some of those things could be that before you even explore the opportunity totally that's being put before you, you're already negotiating what the limitations are, or you're already negotiating your value to be in that space, or you're identifying and saying, I can't afford to do whatever XYZ is, so that it's going to help me to level up to be in this space authentically. But if you're already saying what it is that you can't do, what would happen if you were to take on and say, okay, how can I make this possible? What is it that I need that maybe I don't have access to, or I haven't thought about or considered, that's going to make it possible? If it's a thing that immediately you're saying, I can't afford it, or I can't do this part of the project, you're automatically telling not only your brain, but your mind and everything connected to it, that it's a shutdown. It doesn't have to listen to anything moving forward. And if it doesn't have to listen to anything moving forward, it's like putting that reservation of your intentionality to level up and show up in your career unapologetically halfway, or always needing an extension, or never feeling prepared, or showing up and not, being all razzled. What is the 2 millimeter thing that you can change? Could you plan your time for this project more effectively? Could you kind of navigate how it is that you can move forward and being accessible to the growth that's going to happen? Could you be flexible and open to the criticism that may come around some of these behaviors that you do on a day-to-day basis, that is possibly pausing your ability to kind of see yourself in that, like you see yourself in that leadership role, you see yourself with the promotion, and we all know you would appreciate that pay increase. But it's little 2 millimeter shifts that you have to begin to own and identify how it is that you can do them differently. Going back to the example of how you make a reservation at a restaurant, or a reservation and schedule time with a friend. Are you on time? Do you respect your time and the time of others? Are you always late, or do you always ask for an extension? That communicates your ability, your intention, your mindfulness of how it is time is important to you. So if time is important to you, people are listening not only to what you're doing, but to what they actively receive you as, and how it is that they can experience you on a day-to-day basis. And if they are experiencing you in a way that is not appealing, or showing of yourself in a way that is going to be desirable for the role that you seek, then they have to be mindful of how it is they understand your influence and your impact. And you may be walking around with a blinder on that's not really showing yourself or availing yourself in a way you can that you have owned as your responsibility at this point, where you can make that shift, make that 2 millimeter shift. Now you can imagine 2 millimeters, and I meant to have a ruler here so I could show how teeny eensy that could be. If you open yourself to the opportunity of what you can afford, what you are capable of, what you can learn so that you could be successful in moving forward, is really just a 2 millimeter shift. How it is that you see the problem, how it is that you see the challenge, and how you begin to navigate what that looks like for you in your moving forward. So if you automatically say, I don't know, I can't, I need more time, I need an extension, you are allowing other factors in your behavioral response, in your active of not executing and kind of isolating and trying to convince yourself that your capacity is not all the way there. Like, there are things that we do in your response, or that you do in your response, that creates these 2 millimeter shifts, and the activation of them or the inactivation of them to be a self-imposed and self-directed sabotage of you not being present for the growth that's available to you, and you not being open to the criticism that's going to come to support you, just kind of breaking way of that barrier that's holding you away from that glass, that is saying that you have limitations that look like that glass ceiling. The 2 millimeter shift is a thought process, it's a mindset, it's an ability of recognizing your capacity today and recognizing where your capacity can grow into. If you recognize where your capacity can grow into, then the 2 millimeter shift can be where you are redirecting the path, you are re-scripting the journey, and you are able to understand as well as understand how it is that you show up for yourself in exploring the opportunity from an open cup and from an open opportunity. Because remember, perspective is everything. And in perspective being everything, as you desire to be that leader, and level up your career and live your life on your own terms and your desire without the handcuffs and limitations, you authentically have the influence and the audacity to be able to show up and say, I've made these 2 millimeter shifts. I've made the opportunity open to myself. What I thought I could not afford, be it time, be it project management, be it, whatever it is that you needed to do to show your success in the way that you wanted to show your success, you are able to not say, I can't afford it, and you're finding an opportunity, or you're finding a way to make things happen, and therefore not limiting your skill set, not limiting a project, not limiting yourself by saying, I don't know. You are taking the opportunity to explore, what are my blind spots? What are the human behaviors that I'm doing that is creating a blind spot or limitation or glass ceiling? Or why is it that I'm constantly being looked over when the promotion is sitting right in my face? I have all the skill set, I have everything it is that they need, yet they keep look like skipping over me, or take someone else says my same exact idea towards a project and is not heard with clarity and confidence from my side, because there's other 2 millimeter shifts in your behaviors that you would benefit from making that pivot, making that awareness of how it is that you show up, and showing that you are more than capable. You don't need an extension. You managed your time well. You don't need to say, I can't do this, or this is impossible. You begin to reframe the possibility within that daily divorce of self, and not allowing how it is that you show up unapologetically and saying that I can't afford it, I can't do this. And let me just share one of the things about the words or the response, I don't know. oftentimes we default to the response of I don't know, being that we don't feel comfortable or confident, or we think that there's a response that's expected of us in a way that we are not totally prepared. And the thing that we do is we impulsively respond as I don't know, when in actuality, we should respond and say, can I have a minute? That would be a 2 millimeter shift. That would be the opportunity to give yourself to take a deep breath, think about all the wonderful ways that you contribute, not only to yourself, but to the team, to the influence, to the conversation, and being able to give a thoughtful response. And you can prepare it in a way that even if you're asking for additional time, the reservations that we talked about earlier in this nugget of leadership on your way into the office is that you are not asking for more time to delay your productivity. You're asking for more time or more clarity so that when you do answer, you can answer with confidence. When you say, I don't know, it's a placeholder to you. It's a placeholder to the conversation. But the behavior that it can communicate is that you are not totally prepared for leveling up the career the way that you're saying that you would like to. So when you want to understand like the gifts of how it is that you show up and how you make these 2 millimeter shifts, it could be in mindset, it can be in time, it could be in how you plan your success in preparing yourself for that opportunity that is like right there. You could touch it, you could reach out, but it's something in your human behavior that you haven't listened to your body. You haven't listened to the performance reviews from your job. You haven't listened to the criticism because at this point you have internalized it as possibly a personal attack. And you have possibly internalized it as, well, I can't do this because maybe I don't have the credentials that everybody else around me. Your value has already invited you into the room. Now we need you to make that reservation to understand your purpose and show up unapologetically. So in showing up unapologetically, you become obsessed with your growth and obsessed with the ways in which that reframe, that daily divorce of self, having competition with no one, and authentically being able to break that glass ceiling because you know the intentionality of how it is that you exist, as well as you understand your next steps of your next part of your career. So I would hope that if you see yourself or you hear any of these things that have been shared in this morning nugget, this morning cup of coffee with Mary May, got my cup of coffee here, that you have been able to connect with what 2 millimeter shifts are in your day, or that even as you go throughout your day, you become more aware and understand and listening to your actions, listening to what you're saying and what you're not saying, listening to those moments when you want to say, I can't afford, I don't know, I can't do, I don't have any of the negative. How do you reframe it into the positive? And how can you level up in your career to live that life that you desire on your terms, unapologetically, but yet consistently? So it's like, how can you do this? How is it possible? How can you understand that the power that you have in making these shifts is the power that you have in recognizing that something in your perspective is everything. Something as simple as a 2 millimeter shift can help you have that powerful role that you're looking for. And I don't mean power as far as power hungry, but you're trying to level up and you're wondering what the blind spots are. If you would like to learn more about what your blind spots are, you could definitely follow the link that is scrolling on the bottom of the screen of workwithmarymay.com, and we can have a sit down virtually to talk about what is the GPS that you need that will have a personal roadmap and how it is that you can level up in your career. What are those blind spots? What is it that is not positioning your shifts correctly such that you can show up as you would like to show up? You can create the career that you would like to have that not only influences you, but it impacts the family and those on your team around you. Definitely find some time to go to the link. There's a free case study available for you there for the leaders and voices that I serve. But then also, the breakthrough session is no cost to yourself, but the time that you invest in making that reservation to show up for yourself so that you can next level for others. If any of this served you well, please leave a comment. I'll definitely come back and show some love. If you decide that this is possibly for you or possibly for somebody else, feel free to share this video. But what it is that every Tuesday morning, I show up. I give a leadership nugget as you are on your way into the workplace, whatever that commute looks like for you. And so every Tuesday morning, join me with a cup of coffee, or if you prefer tea, for leadership nuggets with me at 7:30 in the morning. The goal is that I'm in your space for like 10 to 15 minutes, sometimes 20, so that we can, download what it is that you need to understand and grow moving forward. And I hope that you have a great day in your capacity. You have a wonderful day. And thanks for stopping by and hanging out with me this morning. All right. Take care.